Welcome back, everybody. We're doing another deep dive today. And
this is going to be good.
Yeah, we're looking into the life and career of Malayalam actor Meena Ganesh, who recently passed away.
Okay.
We've got some articles here.
Great.
From Onmanorama and Asianet Newsable.
Interesting. So news sources, huh?
Yeah, and you know, sometimes you see those little discrepancies between sources, and it's always sort of fascinating because it's like, well, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Like, for example, Onmanorama says she was 81 and passed away at her home in Ottapalam.
Okay.
While Asianet Newsable mentions Shornor as the location, but doesn't really say where she passed. So, you know, it's always a good reminder to consider the source and look for those little nuances.
Absolutely. Yeah, like even in today's world, like getting the full picture still takes a little bit of detective work, doesn't it?
It does.
But, you know, it really strikes me, even with those little differences, it's just how much of her life was dedicated to acting.
Right.
I mean, starting in theater at 19.
Yeah.
Back then, that was like the main stage, right? What do you think drew her to that world so young?
I mean, it's a great question. It's clearly like a real passion, you know? Choosing acting back then, that was a bold move.
Absolutely.
It makes you think, like, what were those early influences?
Right.
What stories really sparked that for her?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a passing thing either.
No.
I mean, she had an incredible career.
Absolutely.
Over 100 films, all those theater productions.
Yeah.
Over 60 years dedicated to that craft.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's really inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just the length of her career either, but that resilience.
Yeah.
I mean, the articles mentioned she had to take a 2-year break because of mobility issues. To come back from that, to get back on stage or in front of the camera, that takes serious commitment.
It's like she couldn't stay away. Almost like the pull was just too strong.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the changes she must have seen in those 6 decades, right?
Oh, for sure.
In the film industry. I mean, the whole landscape.
Right.
What would you say, like, some of the biggest transformations in Indian cinema?
Well, you've got this shift from black and white to color, the introduction of sound, new genres popping up all the time, and, of course, all the technological leaps in filmmaking itself.
Right.
She really lived through several chapters of Indian cinema history.
Wow. Yeah, her career's like a timeline of a reflection of that journey.
Right.
I wonder how her roles evolved.
Yeah.
Did they reflect those changes?
That's a great point.
Yay!
Makes you want to dig into her filmography, see if there are any connections, right?
Totally.
Maybe she embraced new genres, took on roles that mirrored those social changes happening around her. It's like solving a puzzle, you know, each film is a piece.
Yeah, it is. And speaking of her work, both these articles mention her role in Vasantyam Lakshmiyam Pin and Janam. Do you happen to know anything about that film or her performance in it?
Oh, I've heard of it. It's a really well-respected film, deals with social issues and family dynamics. I haven't seen it personally, but I understand her role as the mother was quite powerful.
Interesting.
Knowing how dedicated she was, I bet she brought a lot of depth to it.
It makes you want to see it, right?
For sure.
See her talent in action.
Yeah.
And there's this great detail in one of the articles. She was married to the actor and playwright Meena Ganesh.
Oh, wow.
Imagine their house so full of creative energy.
Oh, a household steeped in the arts, probably talk about scripts and characters nonstop. It's like their lives were just intertwined with storytelling. Performance was their shared language.
Yeah, and it seems that passion got passed down too.
Oh, how so?
Well, the article says she's survived by her children, including Manoj Ganesh, the director.
Ah, so it's like a legacy continuing, that love for art connecting generations.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes you wonder, does Manoj's work carry any of her influence?
That's a good question.
Like maybe there are subtle nods to her style, or maybe he's drawn to similar themes or genres.
It's like a hidden conversation between their creative voices almost.
It is. Yeah. And it makes you appreciate how one person's passion can ripple outward, influencing others in such profound ways.
It really does. And thinking about influence, what do you think her lasting impact will be on Malayalam cinema?
Wow, that's a big one. I mean, with a career like hers, it's got to be multifaceted.
Yeah.
She was a constant presence, a force in how Malayalam cinema evolved. Sadly, all journeys end, though. The articles mention she passed away after a stroke.
That's a reminder to really value the contributions of artists like her while they're still with us, you know?
Yeah.
And to make sure their legacy lives on, that their work is seen and appreciated. It's almost like by connecting with their art, we keep a part of them alive.
It's about keeping those stories, those performances, those moments of brilliance alive in our memory. And speaking of brilliance, I'm curious about some of her other notable works.
Yeah.
The articles name a couple other films.
Yep.
Have you seen any?
I actually haven't, but Nandanam caught my eye. Sounds like it was a significant one for her.
Yeah.
And Karvamadikutan, too.
Yeah.
Both from different phases of her career. Makes you wonder how her acting style evolved over time.
It's like a treasure hunt, looking for those hidden gems that show the full range of her talent. And it's not just about watching the films, is it? It's about the context, too.
Yeah.
The social and cultural landscape back then, what influenced her work.
Exactly. It's about understanding her journey as an artist, the choices she made, and the impact she had.
And what better way to do that than to dive into her filmography, tracing the steps of her career.
It's like following a map.
Yeah.
Each film a landmark.
Yeah.
Who knows what we'll discover along the way.
I can't wait to find out.
Yeah. It's like each film is its own little time capsule.
Yeah.
Giving us a peek into that moment in her career.
Yeah.
And in Malayalam cinema, too. And, it makes you think every film, it's such a collaboration, right?
Oh, totally.
It's not just her own talent. It's the whole team. The actors, the director, the writers, everyone. Mm-hmm. Makes you wonder about those behind-the-scenes stories.
Oh, for sure.
What those folks would say about working with her. Her work ethic, what she was like as a person.
I bet there are some amazing stories out there. It reminds you that an actor's legacy isn't just the roles, it's the relationships too, right? The impact they have on the people around them.
That's so true. And for us as viewers, it means there's always more to discover. Mm-hmm. We could look into those collaborations, check out the work of the directors and writers she worked with.
Yeah.
It gives you a deeper appreciation for how filmmaking really works. It's a team effort.
It is. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You start with the performance, then you see the context, who she worked with, what influenced her. Each layer adds something.
And speaking of layers, what's really interesting to me is how Malayalam cinema itself changed over time.
Right.
I mean, her career spanned decades, right? Mm-hmm. Storytelling changed, technology changed, audience tastes changed. How do you think all that is reflected in her work?
That is fascinating. It makes you wonder, did she embrace those changes?
Right.
Did her roles change, her acting style?
Mm-hmm.
Or did she stay true to her roots? It's like we're looking for her footprints in time, tracing how her craft evolved along with Malayalam cinema.
That's a great way to put it. And, understanding that bigger picture of Malayalam cinema, it really adds to how we see her work.
It does, yeah.
It's like we have a key to unlock those hidden meanings, those little nuances you might miss otherwise.
Totally. It's like we're becoming film historians ourselves, piecing together her career and where it fits in the whole story of Malayalam cinema.
Absolutely.
And the amazing thing is, this is just the beginning.
Right.
It makes you want to learn more.
Yeah, this is just a little taste to whet your appetite. The idea is to spark your interest and, invite you, the listener, to keep exploring. Who knows what you'll find, what connections you'll make, what insights you'll have.
I love that. It's empowering, right? We're not just passively absorbing information, we're actively discovering.
Exactly.
We can dig deeper, ask questions, connect the dots, and come up with our own understanding of her legacy.
Absolutely. And speaking of legacy, what do you think it means to really keep an artist's legacy alive? Is it just remembering their work, or is there more to it?
That's a really good question. I think it's about engaging with their work on different levels, watching their films, but also discussing them, sharing those experiences, maybe even getting inspired to create something ourselves.
Right.
It's about letting their art ignite our own creativity, our own explorations.
I couldn't agree more. It's about keeping that creative energy flowing, letting it influence new generations. And for Meena Ganesh, with her son being a director, it's interesting to think how her legacy might live on within her family.
It's true. It adds another layer to her story, the idea that her passion, her dedication, her artistry might be woven into her son's work. It's almost like a silent conversation between generations, a passing of the torch.
And it makes you wonder if you can see any of her style in his films, even subconsciously.
Yeah.
Maybe there are thematic connections, a shared feeling, even if their artistic voices are different.
It's like a secret dialogue between their work, a tribute only those who know them would get. Speaking of recognition, I'm curious about how her work was received critically throughout her career. Any standout roles or performances?
The articles don't mention any specific awards.
Right.
but I mean, with such a long and diverse career, she must have been well respected in the industry.
That makes sense. Sometimes an artist's legacy isn't about awards.
Right.
It's about the impact they have on their audience, how their work connects with people on a personal level.
I agree. It's about those deeper connections, the emotions their performances bring out, the memories they create. That goes beyond any award.
Yeah, that's what really matters, the ability to touch people's lives, to inspire them, to leave a mark on the world. It shows the power of art, of storytelling, and of people like Meena Ganesh who dedicate their lives to sharing their gifts.
Absolutely. As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, it's important to remember this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to discover about Meena Ganesh. So what stands out to you the most so far?
For me, it's her resilience.
Oh, yeah.
That ability to overcome obstacles, to get back on stage after a setback, and to keep that passion alive her whole life. It really speaks to her strength and determination and how much she loved acting.
I agree. It's a powerful message that even when things are tough, the human spirit can overcome and passion can lead to incredible achievements. And for me, it's that passion, that dedication to her craft that really shines through. It's a legacy worth celebrating and exploring more. But now I'm curious about you, the listener. What's resonating with you? What questions are you left with? Because really, this deep dive is just a starting point. It's an invitation for you to go on your own journey of discovery, to delve into the world of Meena Ganesh and the richness of Malayalam cinema.
It's amazing how much we've uncovered just from diving into one person's life, right?
I know.
We started with those news articles about Meena Ganesh's passing, and look where we ended up.
It is true.
We've covered so much ground, her early days in theater, how Malayalam cinema changed, the importance of collaboration, and even how a legacy can be passed down.
It's like weaving together all these different threads, finding connections you wouldn't expect.
Exactly. So for you, the listener, what's the biggest takeaway? What's that one thing you'll remember from exploring Meena Ganesh's life and career?
For me, it's that reminder that every artist's journey is unique. It's about appreciating their individual voice, what influenced them and how they impacted the world, and realizing that their story doesn't end just because they're gone.
Right.
They live on through their work, the memories they made, and how they inspire others.
I love that. It's about keeping that creative flame going, letting it spark new passions in other people. And it makes me think about Indian cinema as a whole. We've been talking about Meena Ganesh's role in the Malayalam film industry, but her story is part of something much bigger.
Oh, absolutely. Her career shows us the incredible diversity and history of Indian cinema. It reminds us that there are so many stories to discover, so many voices to hear, so many different perspectives out there.
It's like we've opened a door to this vast, fascinating world, and now it's up to us to explore it. And that's what we encourage you to do, listener. Seek out Meena Ganesh's films, learn more about Indian cinema, let yourself get lost in the power of stories.
And who knows, maybe this has sparked a passion in you. Maybe you'll be inspired to create your own art, tell your own stories, or see the world of film in a whole new way.
That would be fantastic. It's all about keeping that creative energy flowing, letting it touch as many lives as possible. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into the life and legacy of Meena Ganesh, we want to thank you for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed the journey, and we really encourage you to keep exploring on your own. Until next time.